Virgo, a very warm welcome. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. This is your June 2025 reading, guys. Those of you that are new here, welcome. And those of you returning, welcome back. And to all my personal clients who I know watch these videos, big shout out to you guys. So as I'm shuffling, I always shuffle before a reading, okay, with you in mind, Virgo, and any other zodiac sign that I read for, as well as personal clients, obviously. But what seemed to strike me as I'm shuffling, okay, some of you might be emotionally distant, or someone's emotionally distant from you. And during this emotional distance, you are getting some kind of clarity, okay? Clear with yourself, clear with where that maybe things are going. This could be in work, love, and life, guys, okay? And, you know, like the world kept wanting to show itself with the Queen of Wands, which is all about, you know, new cycles, you know. In the story of tarot, you know, it really is the fool's journey, reaches the world, and then it starts again, a new cycle. So an ending and a beginning, with all the previous knowledge and wisdom from the previous cycle, okay? So that's where some of you may be at, okay? Also, some of you might have been isolating a little bit, and you kind of like reached the end of that now. You realize that, you know, that's not driving me forward. It served my purpose to be in a bit of hermit mode. But now, you know, it's time to get back out there and make plans, actions, and live my purpose, you know? So, Virgo, enough chat. One more shuffle, and we're going to go straight into this reading. So we're going to be looking at, you know, your energy, outside influences, possible outcomes, these kind of things. Okay, Virgo, underneath the deck, okay, just an undercurrent. It's not the center of this reading, the Ace of Cups. This could be a brand new offer of love. But for me, I think this is you, Virgo, judging by your previous readings, learning to really love yourself, have solid boundaries, and honor your sensitivity, okay? So what I mean by that is putting yourself in decent situations, you know, not betraying yourself. And that's called self-love, okay? So let's have a look. The center of this reading. Okay, Six of Cups in reverse. A lot of you Virgos now, may have done some inner reflection, really looked at your past. Some of you healed childhood wounds and all these kind of things, but a lot of you are leaving the past in the rear view mirror. So you're living more in the present moment, Virgo, throughout the month of June. Okay, the challenge for you throughout this month. Okay, look, we've got the Hierophant in reverse. Now, the Hierophant in reverse, you know, this talks about commitment. This talks about ancient knowledge. This talks about municipal buildings, libraries, anything where information is collected, churches, these kind of things, all right? I'm thinking really you're leaving stuff in the past where there was like a lack of true commitment. So you would agree, Virgo, people can show up and they can be with us 24/7, but they might have one foot in, one foot out. And it might be a silent knowing. So we have the known, the unknown, and then the silent knowing. Your intuition might have, you know, kicked in over the last few months ago, you know, is this really working out? Is this person really here and dedicated to me? Okay, the reasons why it's all happening, Virgo, either you or somebody decided, I'm going to be independent, even in relationships. You know, we can have interdependent relationships. When we live our life, we're not controlled by anybody. We don't believe in controlling anybody. We live our lives, we live our purpose, and we come home, we share a glass of wine and share our day, okay, with a partner, okay? Not, you know, not a cellmate, a soulmate, if you like, all right? So somebody might have chosen to be single, or someone was acting single. You know, so one foot in, one foot out, like I said, Virgo. In the past, Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, you know, that the passion might have died. Your zest for life might have been a little bit out of whack, you know, due to your intuition kicking in that, you know, what is this really working out? Is this person committed to me? In the recent past, okay? I'm going to clarify this reading, guys. And as always, you know, it's a general reading. It's not a personal reading where it's very specific to people, places, and things, okay? So many scenarios out there. Your focus, okay, some of you might be in the limelight, you know, you might be doing things where you're in the public eye with the star here. Others of you, you're very much focused on healing. Some of you, you've healed, or you're in the process of healing childhood wounds, childhood coping mechanisms, these kind of things, all right? And you know what? Romantic relationships are the greatest thing in the world to trigger coping mechanisms, triggers, all right? And so, romantic relationships, they are the most challenging and the most beautiful things that we can have, all right? As long as they're not toxic, okay? Um, let's have a look. So what you don't see coming throughout this month, we've got Queen of Wands in reverse. Just watch out, Virgos. I know some of you can suffer from a lack of self-confidence at times, okay? We all go through that. But just watch your confidence levels. No comparisons. I think that was a reading that we did a few months ago for you guys, and it was like, you know what? The biggest killer of self-esteem is comparing ourselves to other people, all right? So your energetic field, all right, Virgo, you might be a little bit guarded, and you know what? Rightly so. You might be more discerning now, and realize the true intentions with people, places, and things. All right, true intentions are slowly revealed. In any scenario, the whole of our lives is relationship. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, lovers, siblings, parents, these kind of things. Everything is relationship. And your energetic field, Virgo, throughout the month of June, you might be guarding, fighting your position, standing up for yourself, okay? And you might be a little bit guarded due to a past situation where maybe you gave it your all and your intentions were great, but the other person just wasn't showing up or seemed to be that committed. Okay. And, that sense of commitment sometimes is a feeling rather than actions. Am I making sense, Virgo? Outside influences, all right, some kind of heartbreak. We've got the Three of Swords here. Some kind of heartbreak has affected, this reading and maybe your month, okay? And through some kind of a heartbreak here, we've got, you're a bit guarded, all right? So be patient with yourselves, and certainly others need to be patient, and always be upfront and honest with people, Virgo. Hey, I'm going through something right now, I really like you, blah, 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 that thing, all right? So you're being very clear and transparent, although you're not giving away all the information, okay? And that's a personal boundary. And so when someone tries to cross that boundary and you're not ready, then, that's a red flag, Virgo. You're fearing, in your fears, we've got the Five of Wands in reverse. So in a fear of yours, it's an interesting card when it comes to, fears. The Five of Wands, it does talk about drama. It talks about competition. It can talk about internal conflicts, these kind of things, all right? So a fear of yours would be you want to let go of some kind of drama, or, Virgo, it might be sometimes your delivery in certain situations, which were once coming from childhood wounds and triggers and these kind of things, and right, and they might have caused a little bit of competition and conflict. So I think really, Virgo really is all about self-accountability this month and going, okay, yeah, I need to calm that down because I'm not winning and it's just causing a bit of drama, okay? So it really is about you getting very clear with yourself, Virgo, throughout the month of June, healing some triggers where you react rather than respond. I think really right now, it's all about the newfound Virgo going into, June and the rest of this year is about healing those things where I'm not so bothered and sensitive and hanging on to somebody else's words. The only opinion I care about is my opinion of myself, right? I can look in the mirror and go, hey, I'm a good person. But just watch your confidence levels, all right? And I think really, Virgo, comparison, all right? Again, for you. Outcome's great, all right? Some of you might be considering traveling, but this is fast movement forward, the Chariot. So, you have quite a few major arcanas in this reading so far, okay? So one of fast movement, travel, moving forward, okay? And after a period of, reflection, now you're back in the Chariot, you feel like your GPS is back on track. Is this making sense, Virgo? So let's have a look. I want to clarify now. Why is the Six of Cups here in reverse, right? Letting go of the past, letting go of, nostalgic thoughts, letting go of looking back at the past with rose-tinted glasses, starting to get real and go, hey, there is duality in life, right? There's good and bad. So you're getting very clear, Virgo, throughout the month of June. Why is this here though? Why is that the center of this reading for you guys? Let's have a look. Virgo. Okay, we've got the six of. It's another card of commitment in a way, all right? It's clarified by the King of Pentacles here. So some of you might be letting go of stuff that you did for work. You know, some of you might be moving into new careers or thinking about new careers, you know, self-employment, these kind of things, and doing things differently. So maybe working smarter, not harder, okay, might be a focus for you, Virgo. Others of you, you're letting go of maybe a King of Pentacles, you know, someone that you thought was committed, all right, that you were hoping they were committed, and maybe you were fooling yourself that they were truly committed, all right? Because the challenge is, you know, a lack of commitment, and then it's clarified by death in reverse. So something's not over, Virgo. Something hasn't transformed, and I think you're just wondering now, am I better off being single? Okay. And, you know, somehow I feel more balanced, you know, when I am single. I'm more self-regulatory. It's an interesting read, all right, as far as that's concerned. In the recent past, we've got the Ace of Wands in reverse. Maybe you got over the disappointment of, you know, a lack of passion. You got over the disappointment and slowly opening up again in the recent past about new opportunities in life that, you know, they kind of like float your boat emotionally. Okay, after a period of maybe, you know, hermit mode and really looking at different perspectives, these kind of things. All right, your focus is healing, and also moving very slowly forward. So, you know, the Knight of Pentacles goes very slow. He's very careful. So let's say you are working on having solid boundaries. You're slowly putting them into place throughout the month of June. And the Knight of Pentacles does it well. It's not like the Knight of Swords when it's about healing. You know, let's say it is setting boundaries. The Knight of Swords would be very aggressive with those boundaries. It would be like, no, don't turn up at my house unannounced. Whereas the Knight of Pentacles, he would take a more balanced, earthly approach, and he'd go, hey, look, I'd love to see you. However, you know, can you just give me a call before you'd like to arrive? You know, because I do have things to do, okay? So he's more courteous, the Knight of Pentacles, all right? So a lot of you would be healing these kind of things, how to communicate with people where you're responding, you're not reacting, okay? And no, don't let anyone cause a reaction within you. That's when you know that this trigger's unhealed, you know, because you're reacting. It's like, that's interesting. I used to be triggered by that. And so once you've labeled it and you've slowed down time, we can now respond, you know? And I think that might be what's happening with you, Virgo. Okay, what you don't see coming toward you is just be careful that some of you don't self-isolate it too much, and you kind of like go into negative self-talk, and it damages your confidence. So try to balance out your time, okay, throughout June, where you're sociable, but you also need that recharge of batteries, and you need to check in with yourself and become your own best friend. And you know, when you are alone and when you kind of like go a little bit non-contact, missing in action from people, you know, make sure that it's positive self-talk, Virgo, throughout the month of June, right? So your energetic field, this is quite interesting, okay? Some of you might really fight for your independence now. It might be, you know, I'm single and I'm enjoying myself. And, you know, even in relationships, you're like defensive of, you know, your own passions, your own goals. Okay. So, you know, your energetic field is one of, yeah, I'm going to defend, you know, and fight for my rights, you know, for freedom. I won't be controlled by anybody, and I certainly don't want to be I don't want to be controlled, and neither do I want to control. Okay, so I think it's, you know, a classic case of learning the difference between controlling versus caring. Okay, you know, controlling is, hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Where are you? Whereas, hey, babe, darling, whatever, however you phrase your love language or whatever, you know, it's 1 a.m. Are you okay? You know, make sense? All right. So look, outside influences. All right. Some of you might have felt a little bit heartbroken, Virgo, and We've got the three of swords. We've got two threes here. I don't know whether, third party situations might be for some of you. It's not a personal reading, and I hate that subject on this channel. But anyway, life is life, right? And people are people. They do some strange things. So, it's like you lost a little bit of hope and optimism, with the Three of Wands in reverse. The Three of Wands is just like, yeah, been here, seen that, done that. That's great. What's next? So it's looking out across the ocean with optimism, like anything's possible. What else is out there? So I just think that, because the recent past, you were slowly opening up again after, losing a bit of zest for life, Virgo. Your fears, you don't really want to compete. I think Virgos are, look, I don't want to compete. You're my lover, not my rival. That was a song, right? What was that? Was that Karma Chameleon, Boy George, or Culture Club? It's kind of like you're my lover, not my rival. I don't think you want to be in competition with, romantic partners. So it's like it's a fear of yours that, I kind of want this Two of Cups energy. I want a partner, but I don't want to be in competition. I don't want power struggles, The Seven of Wands keeps coming out for you guys. Some of you, fast movement forward, and you're dropping this guardedness. And that comes from healing and taking things slowly, putting into practice things that we've learned. Some of you might have been really into self-help, self-actualization, self-study, studying your love languages, studying, personality traits and all these kind of things, just for some of you, a select few. And it really is, you've healed a lot, Virgo, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'm ready to move forward now and drop my guard. But with one foot in the wisdom well, I've done the internal work, I have been let down. All right, I have been heartbroken in love, in life. Some of you might have been childhood, right? And it's like from this loss of hope, from this healing, you're moving forward, you're dropping your guard because your boundaries are protecting you now, as opposed to shutting off and thinking everyone's out to get me. Does that make sense, Virgo? So you're coming from a place of, hey, look, I don't appreciate being spoken to like that. I'm going to come back to you when you've calmed down. Those kind of things. All right. So that's like, okay, there's movement there. I'm not shutting down and shutting off and shutting out people and, being unapproachable. I'm happy to move forward in love, life, work, or whatever arena. But I know now that, I have my boundaries in place, and, I'm finding my voice. And not only am I finding it, I'm actually doing it. My delivery is a lot better than maybe it was in the past. So June is going to be all about delivery of communication. When you're triggered, Virgo, you're not going to react. You're going to slow down time and go, there's an old trigger. Does that make sense? And that's how we learn that we're healing, because once the emotional triggers diminish, that's a sign of healing. So it's like, wow, I used to talk about these subjects. I'll get really pissed off when that certain scenario would happen, when someone was late or someone abandoned me. This is how I behave. And now I'm much more grounded about it now, and realize that people are people. It is what it is. People do strange things. I just keep it moving. Okay? It's good. Virgo is great. Looks like a lot of growth that has come from times of reflection and the previous month's work and life in general. You've collated a lot of information, throughout your lives, and you're kind of like putting it into practice now, right? And creating your own blueprint of life. Let's have a look. I want to just have a look at this Three of Swords out here, an outside influence, right? A Three of Swords, some kind of heartbreak and loss of optimism in a certain situation. I cannot leave them. I want my cake and eat it. I don't know what that means. If someone's kind of acting single in a relationship and you sense that, it's kind of, I can't leave that kind of outside attention and be fully committed. And it's a feeling for you, Virgo. It's not spoken about, maybe for some of you, right? Again, not a personal reading. In the recent past, I mistook friendship for romance. Some of you guys, you might have got romantically involved with people and realized, you know what, maybe we were better off as friends, just for some of you, all right? You're focused on healing and the Knight of Pentacles. I had an ulterior motive and hidden agenda. And so, what this is all about, Virgo, your focus is having boundaries and nipping things in the bud will destroy people's MO, their agendas, because you have a spoken voice. Instead of feeling internally and reacting, you're now going, seen this before. I've got boundaries in place now. I've healed my old triggers. I'm going to nip things in the bud, which will change dynamics rapidly, or people leave because you set a boundary. It's when we leave it and we don't nip it in the bud and we don't make changes on how people should treat us with respect in small increments. Let's say after an argument, for example, we never address those situations. It's not prudent. The other person's too closed off in Seven of Wands energy to even talk about it. So we've got to wait for a better moment and go, hey, look, what happened last week? I feel this way when you do that. And if the other person, keeps doing it, you realize that, what? Are they my friend? At the end of the day, are they actually my friend? And there's always kickback from setting boundaries. People will test them because they want the old dynamic back. So if you've been showing up in a certain way in love relationships, Virgo, and people are used to that, and then suddenly you switch up, which I think you've been doing slowly with the Knight of Pentacles there, people will test it and go, no, she or he doesn't mean it. And they'll come back and test it again. And that's why boundaries at the start, they become very aggressive because people don't get it. And in time, when you are pragmatic and you keep them in place and go, hey, look, we have spoken about this, you're not listening to me. It's great, Virgo, all right? So, healing takes time, okay? But you're doing well. Let's have a look. So if this is about love, guys, throughout the month of June, let's have a message for love for you. I think it's a lot of June is about, you'll have your work to go to, Virgo, and you have your projects and plans and all these kind of things. But there is going to be healing work that you're going to be doing, okay? Because the Four of Swords is going to be there, all right? Codependency, addictions are affecting your romantic life. For a lot of you, codependency might have been a little bit of an issue in the past and you're healing that, okay? And then I don't think you're too much into love throughout the month of June, okay? I think really what's happening with Virgos is they are learning independence, okay? Nine of Pentacles is totally non-codependent. Got your own shit together, working on your coin, self-regulatory, self-soothing, these kind of things. Doesn't look for anyone to fill their cup, okay? Although they have love to give, they don't fall in love with the idea of falling in love, that codependent addiction to love, that's not Nine of Pentacles energy. And so we've got calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together in reverse. So I think a lot of you might be really working on your independence throughout the month of June. Love and relationships might be taking a backseat because, you were highly triggered by something. And just doubting people's agendas. And you realize that I can't change anybody. Throughout the month of June, is a mantra for you, Virgo, is I can't change anybody, but I can change myself. And it's how you look and how you respond, not react. So I'm going to leave you with a positive message, guys. All right? Brilliant work, though, Virgo. Keep it up, okay? Just watch your confidence levels, your negative self-talk and, comparisons. We've had that in a reading for you before. Comparisons it's a violent thing to do to yourself, okay? Let's have a look. A positive message, a mantra for you to take with you. Friendship. You're an incredible friend, Virgo. You're valued and a joy to be around. A lot of you guys, lean on your friends throughout the month of June, Relax. Everything is okay. Everything is working out perfectly, and this situation will resolve effortlessly. Expect miraculous solutions to unfold, Virgo. And that's very Knight of Pentacles, slowly putting in the effort, slowly from the internal work, slowly working in the outside world with boundaries that are, delivered in a friendly way. Does that make sense? As opposed to an aggressive way, because you've been triggered and guarded with the Seven of Wands. An amazing month for growth, okay? And you'll start to see outward changes of your internal work. Let's have a look. If you're a song Virgo throughout the month of June, lyrics might mean something, the band might mean something, just the title might mean something, the melody might evoke certain feelings within you. The End by The Doors, okay? Whatever that might mean to you. The end, is it the end of something, Virgo? Is it the end of OU? Is it the end of codependency? Is it the end of expecting commitment from people that don't seem to be transforming and always have one foot in and one foot out? It's the end of something for you, Virgo. And where there's an ending, there's a brand new beginning. So amazing work for you guys. Have an amazing June. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. It means I can continue to do this for free for you. If you want a personal reading, you can reach out at moderntarot.net or browse the YouTube Modern Tarot store, and I'll do my best to help you get some clarity on your personal situations. In the meantime, Virgo, have an amazing June. See you back here soon. Bye now.